Hello,
Meeting is being recorded.
hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this first talk corner for the year. This talk corner is a special segment of the Value for Her program of AGRA. The idea is to give women a platform, the women entrepreneurs a platform to share their experiences, to share their knowledge, and to try to inspire other women that would like to follow that path in food entrepreneurship and in addressing nutrition, their family nutrition. My name is Sabdio Dido. I'm the head of gender and inclusiveness at AGRA. And this exciting program is one of the initiatives that I oversee at AGRA. Today, we are going to have two CEOs of women companies. We will have Linda Manyeza, and we will also have Jolenta Joseph. I am not going to go into the detailed introduction because that will be the role of our moderator today. Our moderator is also one very accomplished woman. Her name is Dr. Esther Ibrahim. And Dr. Esther Ibrahim is a program officer at AGRA. She is a very well accomplished professional herself. And she belongs to the AGRA Nigeria team, and she's responsible for the Kaduna state. And we're really excited to hear her take on Jolenta and Linda to try to tease out their experiences, their story. You know, when women speak, there's normally a lot that is not said. And Esther is going to help us to pull this out so that we can share this with the rest of you. Thank you so much for joining us, and really looking forward to your feedback and your insights for this initiative, for this talk corner, but at the same time also for this initiative. I just want to say that we are open, we're looking for partnerships for all the people that are acting for women. Please join us and let us push our continent forward. Let us push the women in food systems transformation forward, and really looking forward to that. Thank you, and over to you, Esther.
Thank you, Sabdio. Thank you for introducing me, and thank you for also the opportunity to moderate the first talk corner for Value for Her for 2022. I really want to say thank you and also welcome all our participants online from across the globe listening to us. I also want to say thank you to our two panelists that are also here for taking their time to come share their experience on their journeys in entrepreneurship with us, for us to also learn and also share through our questions and answers to see how we can actually build each other together as a team working on the continent. And as we all know, entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of agriculture and the food sector. And it is projected that it will grow up to exceed $1 trillion in by 2030. So we want to see as much as possible, just like our dear Sabdio had told us, how do we build ourselves as agripreneurs, as entrepreneurs, to support food systems in Africa. Thank you very much. I will want to start by introducing one of our panelists, Ms. Linda Manyeza. Linda Manyeza is an award-winning agro-processor. She's passionate about food processing using the dehydration method and the use of biomass. She's actually a widow, and her life experience has also helped her to drive her passion to grow as an entrepreneur. I must let you know that she's also an award-winning agro-processor, like I said, a second runner-up for the Women Agripreneurs Year Award by AGRA in 2021. She's also the CEO of Food Masters based in South Africa. Please, can we put our hands together for her using the icon of clapping and welcoming her to today's talk corner. We also have a second panelist, but before I get to you, Jolenta, permit me to start with Linda this afternoon. Miss Linda, we will want to, we have an audience. We want to see how we can use your experience to learn, because this journey I know are not without challenges. But please, can you tell us what motivated you to venture into agribusiness, and particularly the fight against food waste, and in your to support food security for vulnerable communities? And if you can also share with the women that are listening, that are online, also itching to learn, what finance model helped you to come to the level where you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this session. We were wealthy, beautiful houses, children in private schools, thriving businesses, but life happened and we lost everything. We lost our houses, our businesses, household office furniture. We lost everything. Above all, we lost our dignity. Unable to put food on the table with children out of school, I realized that poverty is real and it can affect anyone at any given time. In April 2017, my husband of 21 years passed on due to heart failure. Although my pockets were empty, my mind was rich, and I decided that no one should lack. So I decided to uplift women in rural and peri-urban communities by training them how to dehydrate fruits and vegetables so that they too could fight against food waste, increase food security, feed their families with nutritious food, and sustainable income while they contribute meaningfully to the economy. So it was during this time, because having just had a vision, but without the finance to back it up, I held on to the vision and I started applying for incubation programs. And it was during that time that I was accepted by Spark International, now called YGAP, and YGAP South Africa. And they accepted me into their program as one of the 10 entrepreneurs, change makers across South Africa, as well as social entrepreneurs. They loved my idea. So that is what I was armed with. Attended a boot camp and I got trained, and they facilitated for my first commercial training in food dehydration. But having said that, I was coming from a background where my parents, although they were in the educational field, they were also small-scale farmers, and they used to grow the food that we ate, as well as to keep livestock. So I had an idea of what farming is all about and food preservation as well. And my grandmother was also a subsistence farmer, and she used to make biltong. I always say to the ladies in my network, are you smarter than my grandmother? Because she really knew how to preserve food. So having had that kind of background, and now that I was beginning to interact with people in the incubation space, I then realized that this was actually going to be a business. And I was happy because during the time that I went through a difficult time, one thing that I did not want to do was to be defined by circumstances. I knew that although I was widowed, although I had lost everything, I had already reached rock bottom, and all I had to do now was to swim up. And so I decided that as food masters, we would lift other women as we rise. So that is how we began. And would you believe that more than 10 million tons of food goes to waste in South Africa every year, while 14 million people go to bed hungry daily? To me, that was unacceptable. But because I was coming from the 14 million where we had to feed because somebody is assisting us, I understood what it was like to lack. And I knew that hunger is a silent killer, and most of the people affected by it, they don't have a voice to be on platforms such as these. So I decided that my business model would then become one that makes profit, but again, looking at the social goals of uplifting other women and getting food security up and avoiding food waste and post-harvest losses from the farmers. So one thing that I realized was that the lack of food, apart from it being just lack of dignity, it also means that there's high crime rate, there's prostitution, drug abuse, street kids, antisocial behavior, malnutrition. It comes with a whole lot of unpleasant things. So then I realized that as entrepreneurs, there were so many holes within the food system of South Africa and of Africa at large. And it was entrepreneurs such as me with hands-on experience of poverty, with hands-on of experience of having had a lot and having nothing, that we had to seal those holes. So that is how I started the business. But because I was coming from where I didn't have anything, I also had to approach, there's a foundation that funded us in the beginning. And I approached them and then they were able to support us. We got into a strategic partnership. And that is how I started by piloting that project and training women in the rural community.
Thank you, Linda. I think one of the takeaway I'm getting from here is for us as women, do not be defined by your circumstance. And then as much as possible, please try to swim up, don't go down. And then also, we also see that you are not working alone. You are also building the capacity of other women. Of a truth, the issue of food waste is actually a problem in Africa. I know I've come across a statistic that said over 4 billion worth of dollars of food is wasted annually in Africa. I hope that from this, we'll be able to come together and see how we can reduce that to also improve on that. Thank you. Sorry, before I also go back to Jolenta, I want to quickly take you on this. The Food Master, just like most other businesses, Food Master, which you are working on, is also for profit venture with social responsibility. And in your opinion, how can we leverage this to scale economic development in the continent, just like we're saying? And for women listening to you, how can they harness the power of collectives using networks such as Value for Her, which is actually providing this platform for us to discuss, and other accelerator programs to grow their business? Of course, I heard you talk about you needed to approach a foundation, you needed to move out because you didn't have anything, to see how you can come up. So what do you have to say about this? Thank you.
There's a lot, the good thing, the good news really is that there are a lot of incubation programs as well as a lot of acceleration programs that are there on standby to assist agripreneurs. And what we need to do as women, we need to reach out. We need to apply for these opportunities. Usually we are on so many platforms where these opportunities are shared. And what we need to do is not to judge ourselves for what we think we do not have, but to go on with our visions and then apply for these programs. Because had it not been for programs such as these, I wouldn't have been where I am right now. After the foundation had started my pilot project, I was then taken in by University of Johannesburg Center for Entrepreneurship, and I got to study in a small business enterprise program, SBEP, and I graduated. And all this was a sponsorship because I'm aligned with fighting against food waste. So they sponsored me to do that. And then I also realized that there is a lot of intellectual resources, even from universities, which we are not tapping into as agro-processors or as agripreneurs. Universities have done the research, they've done everything, so they sit on another side, while entrepreneurs try and crack to see how we can do certain things. So I learned how to tap into universities for assistance. And so I've been dealing with University of Johannesburg and even the UJ PITS, as well as engineering department and food technology department, and tapping into the intellectual resources as well as as well as optimizing my solar panel. And I also applied for an incubation program, and the company is called Wouldn't It Be Cool? And under the Urban Agriculture Initiative, where they support agripreneurs, and they took me in. I graduated in that program, and they are the ones who now gave me a loan to set up the current commercial facility that I have. And I always say that has been the coolest thing ever. They're called Wouldn't It Be Cool? And they helped me to set up a commercial plant, which is exactly what I wanted, where I wanted to be. So after Wouldn't It Be Cool? I went on to an acceleration program, Branson Center for Entrepreneurs, and I applied for the Food Innovation Challenge, where I presented the way that I'm dehydrating food, harnessing the power of the sun, because I generally believe that as Africa, we don't have reason to be wasting food if we really have to be honest, because we do have the sun. We can harness the power of the sun. We can use biomass to dehydrate food. What we're simply doing is taking the traditional methods that our grandmothers used and merging it to modern technology. And there we are, through these programs, we are able to do that. And so in the true sense of it takes a village to raise a child, it has taken also a lot of incubation programs, as well as the Agra Value for Her, which has been the best thing that happened to me, being identified and getting to be a second runner-up from a story that started from my brokenness. And I always encourage women that no matter what you're going through, know that somebody is watching what you're doing. So these incubation programs have actually gotten me this far. And if as women, we can continue like that, there are people who have the financial muscle, intellectual muscle, or even mentors. I've also got a great mentor who is always directing me here and there, Ian McCloy. So with ladies, to ladies, what I can say is wherever you feel that maybe you are not rising fast enough, maybe you're not getting what you want to get, all these programs are there for us. And even this kind of platform opportunity, we can learn to collaborate, cooperate, and get the best, really. There's a lot that we can benefit.
Thank you, Ms. Linda. That's quite insightful. The power of networking. Please, let's make most of the opportunities that comes our way, and then people are watching. Whatever you are doing, no matter how little, I think I've learned that we should not despise days of little beginning. We can actually work together. Connect as much as possible. Value for Her has already presented a platform for us, and there are several of them, like she has just stated, that we can actually connect with. Mentorship, capacity building. I see from her a lot of trainings, a lot of looking for, pushing, and then trying to move forward by building her capacity. So this is actually a call for us to actually move forward. Thank you very much, Linda. We are grateful for that insight. I'll come back to you. And yes, I want to move now to Ms. Jolenta Joseph, who is also an award-winning young nutritionist. So we're looking at the youth now. She's also an agri food processing trainer in Tanzania. She has also made remarkable progress in the country's fight against hidden hunger. Ms. Joseph is also very innovative in using the crops like the orange-fleshed sweet potato, processing it, and then also a winner of the Value for Her Women to Women Innovation Grant of 2020. She's also worked on wheat gain, on mentorship. She's gotten a prize from Gain through a mentorship prize that was granted by Agria. She's also the head of Sanavita foods that adds value to us. Orange fleshed, sweet orange fleshed potato. We have her online this afternoon. Miss Jolenta, please, can you show your face? Please, can you show your face? Hello.
Hello, Esther. How are you?
I'm fine, Jolenta. Please, can you just show your video a bit? I can see there's some challenge with you.
Yeah. So I think I can put off my video so that I think you can hear me well.
Yeah, that's fine. So thank you very much, Miss Jolenta. I've just introduced you. Please, can we welcome Miss Jolenta with a clap, please? She's our second panelist, and she's from Tanzania. She heads Sanavita Foods as the CEO. Thank you. My question to you as a young entrepreneur is also asking that as a young nutritionist, food agripreneur, what are some of the key opportunities that are for young people, young females to engage in agriculture? If you can use your own experience to also share with us, giving us examples so that the younger females that we have or young entrepreneurs, not just the young ones, even the older ones can also learn from you possible ways of securing startup finance and also having a lucrative market. I hope you got me right, Ms. Jolenta. Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I
Okay,
did. I do.
all right. Thank you.
Uh, okay, thank you, Esther, for such a nice introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jolenta Joseph. I'm the Managing Director for Sanavita Company Limited. This is the company which addresses malnutrition through agribusiness engagement using staple crops. So we are producing biofortified crops in Tanzania. This is orange flesh sweet potatoes, provitamin A maize, as well as high iron and zinc beans. Our dedication is to reduce malnutrition through the staple crops where the smallholder farmers who are most vulnerable, they can just produce and consume them. And as we see that in our country, we have high rates of malnutrition. So addressing this malnutrition is so highly very expensive. So linking the smallholder farmers to the processors, this is one way of addressing this issue through the local and staple crops where these are highly consumed in the villages. So this is the cheap way of dealing with malnutrition. So what are the key opportunities that I see along the youth? I can say that young people, we have energy, we are very innovative, and then we have enough time that we can deal with whatever challenges we have. So it's an opportunity for women and also for young people to venture in any agricultural value chains to feed Africa, because the food business is a business that like can be sustainable anytime, because we are consuming foods every day, but the issue is only what we are producing. So we can use our knowledge and our education backgrounds to venture into the agricultural value chains. I'm using my own experience or my own example. I'm nutritionist. I did degree in human nutrition. So thinking around what can I do to give back to my community and save my community is only coming up with an innovation that can help other young people, women, young mothers, as well as other people, because I'm employing now. So this is an opportunity that are available along the agricultural value chains to save the community. Along with the startup financing, starting a business is not something that is very easy. But if you think of having what you have in your hand, is where you can start. I can say also, like, for me, I started by taking the raw materials on credit from farmers, because I was thinking, when should I be ready to start a business? But when I found that farmers are struggling with the market of the nutritious crop, I said this is an opportunity for me to start a business. Another opportunity for women is being trusted. You know, women, we are so, like, I can say most of the people trust us most. So when I go to the farmers and they said, guys, can I find a market for you guys? They said yes. And because I was a woman, young, very young, so they said, okay, this lady will be helpful for us. And up to date, they are not regretting, but they are very happy working with me. So for the young women, I can say, or even not young, if you want to start a business, start with idea, and then money is not something that should not come first, and then this can come maybe later. But if you have your idea, you can start with what you have in hand, and then you can grow from there. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Ms. Jolenta. Um, Thank you for presenting your experience to us as a nutritionist. Your drive was to actually look at the challenge of malnutrition. As we also heard from our first speaker, her motivation was to reduce food waste. And yours is actually looking at how to solve the problem of malnutrition in your community or in your country. And then I also have a takeaway that we need to be innovative as young people. We have the energy. We also don't allow money to stop us. Start with what you have. Thank you very much for that inspiration, and also for sharing that experience with us. Please, for our participants online, use the Q&A to share your questions and also your comments, so that we can actually make this discussion more interactive, and we can also respond to your burning questions. Thank you very much. Ms. Jolenta, I'm also coming back to you again as a young entrepreneur and also thriving in Tanzania. In your own assessment, what is the level of youth involvement in agriculture from what you've seen? And what is the level of responsiveness from government and other in advancing youth participation in agribusiness? What could be done better? If you can also share from your own experience.
Okay,
Hello,
Esther, thank you for. Hello, Esther.
can you hear me? Did you get my question?
Yes, I think it's what should be done to take agricultural sector far.
Yes,
So
and
what I. Mhm.
please go ahead.
Okay, for me, what I see, like, agriculture is key for everything when we talk of food and nutrition. So what I feel to be done is, like, can we do agriculture, nutrition sensitive agriculture? Because we are producing food, then are we producing the same kind of food? Are we just producing for us to feed the hunger, or are we looking forward to produce the nutritious food with a lot of nutrients? Can we diversify our diets through our agriculture? Another thing I think is, like, capacity building to the young people and the community at all about nutrition sensitive agriculture. Can we enable environment for the young people to come more into agriculture, dealing with mindsets? Can we make agriculture sexy so that everybody can come into agriculture? Because if we make agriculture sexy, then most of the young people can come into agriculture with their smartphone, just taking, like, snapshots and the like through in their farm. So this can help the community to diversify and take agriculture as a business, because with the mindset currently, we can see most of the people are thinking that agriculture is just something that can be done by the poor people, maybe something that can be done with the people with a lot of money, retirees and the like. So we need to design the programs that deals with a mindset changing the people's mind towards agriculture. Another thing is on the side of the government, maybe enabling environment. For our government, we are so lucky because I just heard yesterday we have a project about building better tomorrow, which is a very proper project for the young or for the youth to come into agriculture, which is dealing with agricultural parks, technologies, empowerment, and funding youth to come into agriculture. We have 10% of the local government authorities in the districts to be the loan for the young people. So these are the kind of the things that motivates young people and also other people to come into agriculture. If the environment is nice, and then we can do agriculture as the other works like how people are enjoying other works, then we can see a lot of people in agriculture, and the issues of hidden hunger, maybe food security, and all those will be the stories. So we can find ourselves in the better position because most of the challenges currently we are facing, I think, are coming from the issues of malnutrition. I think these are the sides of malnutrition. So if we eat well, I think we will reduce the cost of living also. So I think agriculture should be given the priority so that we can solve a lot of issues. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Ms. Jolenta. I see that the government is also playing some very key roles in Tanzania from the initiatives that you just mentioned. But I think what I'm seeing here for us and everyone on the panel is that we need to get involved in activities or programs that contribute to mindset change for the young people to see agriculture more as a business rather than just a way of life. And thank you for that. We need to be also very innovative. And then you are also saying that things we need to do better is also to support nutrition sensitive agriculture. That's taken, and thank you for those insights and then also sharing your experience. Ms. Jolenta, I'll be coming back to you, but please, participants online, please keep your questions coming. We have that session very soon. We have one question already here, but I want us to go back to Ms. Linda Manyeza for for her to share some of her insights. Miss Linda, I'm coming back to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So I want you to also share with us, what do you think should be the role of states and non-state actors in promoting dried and nutritious food? You're actually working on vegetables, how to preserve them using dehydration. What do you think our states and non-state actors, what should be their role in promoting this food and then also in vulnerable communities? And what are the benefits of those dry foods in Africa or in developing economies? Of course, this is your business. So tell us what are the benefits and how you think we can actually push this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. In terms of government, non-governmental organizations, private companies, universities, farmers, we can all work together because what is happening at the moment, like in my business, is we're fighting against food waste. So what it means is half the time we are attending to the calls from farmers who are not able to take their produce to the market because of one reason or the other. Either it's not looking good enough. I always say there's a lot of beauty contest within the fresh fruit and vegetable industry. If products are not looking good enough, then they cannot be sold at the market. And there are many other reasons like lack of market, lack of cold storage, oversupply, less demand. So we end up now going to farmers who call us to say, I've got 100,000 heads of cabbages. May you please help me? I want to avoid them going to the landfills. And then if we answer that call, it means we'll end up with a lot of dried food. So we're asking government, non-governmental organization, private sectors, anyone who's dealing with food program, with mass feeding programs, to be able to buy from us. We're looking for markets which will buy bulk in order for us to be able to, to make a difference when we're fighting against food waste and increasing food security. Because dried food has got so many advantages. It is nutritious, it is easy to carry, it is light to carry, easy to store, and it doesn't need refrigeration. So it is ideal for the people who we are targeting this food for, who are the ones that in vulnerable communities at the base of the pyramid, who at the moment cannot help themselves. But having said that, we also, as Food Masters South Africa, we also offer training to women in rural and peri-urban communities. We train them how to dehydrate fruits and vegetables. But there's a lot of awareness that is needed. There's a lot of support as well, because agro-processing equipment is expensive. It doesn't come cheap. And as a result, a lot of people who are doing it at such small scale that it doesn't quite make a big difference financially in business. So what government, non-governmental organizations, private companies, and other players can do is to support agro-processors. I see there's a whole lot of support, especially on the farming space, on the farming side. But now what we need to know is, while it is important to grow food, it is more important to know how to preserve it. Otherwise, at the moment, as statistics stand, a third of our harvest in South Africa goes to the landfills. So there's a lot, I personally feel there's a lot of investment on the side of the farming, on actually producing the produce, unlike agro-processing. And I'm really making that call to say, we need a lot happening in agro-processing. And then as we're doing training, we are also supporting the vulnerable communities, because what we are saying is we also need the partnership of the NGOs and private companies which are operating within those areas, who will be able to support their host communities as a social responsibility, where they will fund them, for training. Because while it is good to be able to give them a handout, we believe at Food Masters that it is even better to give them a hand up, because then a hand up is more sustainable than just a handout. Yes, a handout will be needed because someone has to start by feeding, but going forward, we are here to provide that information, to train them how to dehydrate food so that they too can make a difference. And then for farmers, usually we find that farmers, there is a problem in understanding when exactly to let go of the food, of the fresh produce. So the shelf life of the fresh produce. We also need regulations, to be understood, loosened a bit, so that we can access this food at reasonable prices, so that we can extend the benefit to the beneficiaries. So in a nutshell, we can all work together to bring up the solution within this agro-processing, and most especially where we're fighting against food waste, because we end up with a whole lot of dried food, but we need offtake, we need markets and bulk in order for us to make a huge difference and mitigate hunger. And as an associate signatory, I'm an associate signatory to the South African Food Waste and Lost Voluntary Agreement, where we have signed as manufacturers that we are going to commit to reducing food waste by half come 2030. And this is in line with United Nations Sustainable Goals. And we can only achieve this if we produce in bulk and then also have a market that has got an appetite for our bulk produce. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I actually had problem with connection, but it's fixed. So thank you for sharing your insight on how we can promote dry foods on the continent and then food.
And then,
sorry.
I forgot.
Okay, please go ahead.
One thing that I also forgot to mention was we have a lot of expertise in different countries. And here I'm actually requesting, like from Value for Her, to be able to have even exchange programs where an agro-processor from South Africa can go to Tanzania, or Tanzania can come to South Africa. And then we leverage on each other's strength. We share our knowledge. We walk the journey. We share the kind of technologies that we're doing, because you'd find that someone is doing something better in another country, and while another one is looking for that kind of information. Because in our space as food waste, as fighters against food waste, you'd find that it is different from agro-processors who are just making ingredients, because those that are just making ingredients who do their dried onions, then they'll powder it, they'll take it where it's going. But we pretty much are like goalkeepers within the food industry. And so as such, we need to be able to share information with others, even at a regional level, so that we really can get more expertise and end up even trading with each other on products which are a lot in their country and also a lot in another country. You find that as Value for Her, as we can create that kind of platform. If it's not already there, I'd like to think it could be there, but for dried food, we really need to tap into it on a larger scale.
Right, thank you, Linda. That's taken. Sorry, before I go to the next question, I quickly want to take a question from the Q&A for you, particularly Linda. You talked about training of women, supporting women along the supply chain to build their capacity. There's a question for you here saying that what model of support or training do you think was most effective to help you to scale your business? I know you have different training models. You can share with us quickly, just in 1 minute, and then which one of the model was the most effective for you? Thank you.
And the one that was most effective for me was the hands-on, the practical model, because what happens with food dehydration, it is one thing to learn about it, but it's another thing to get in and then do the whole process. So we find that even the one that we are offering, it's where the women would come in and then we begin to train them from personal hygiene, knife handling, food safety, right up to the actual practical method. And then they get to see what happens when they preserve food like this and what happens when they just dry it naturally. And we also driving that natural drying. So to me, that is the method that works, the practical one, because it's easy to remember what you have done.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. I think we're running out of time, and we do not want to take time more than we have scheduled. Finally, I just want to round up. For both of you, you can just use 2 minutes to quickly address the women online as the WIRE second runner. Please tell us what it meant to you and the business, and what would be your message to the women listening who aspire to reach the level of business success that you have?
For me, as the second runner-up, what I can say was this was an amazing opportunity. It was great for me, just being handpicked out of what I'm doing. It was really something that I celebrate today. And what it meant for my business, it meant that I had more working capital because working capital was a challenge for me, as I buy quite a lot of raw material. So working capital was a challenge, so it became better for me. And after that, I was able now to even supply the retail market. And the other thing is I've gotten my tunnel, my solar tunnel, which is being optimized by University of Johannesburg PITS, and they're doing it at a subsidized amount. And that also meant that I could contribute my portion for the optimization of the tunnel. And then I've been mentoring some ladies who are in Venda, and Limpopo is one of the food baskets of South Africa where a lot of food waste happens. Two of them have been drying food from their cars, and I've been trying to teach them the right way of doing it. And we're getting a solar dryer, it's a yard dryer for them, so that they will be able to dry. And all that is being made possible by that grant. And so it really meant a lot. It put me on a good footing for my business.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Linda. Please, do we still have Ms. Jolenta? Can you hear me?
Yes, I do, Esther.
Yes, so I'm back to you with the same.
So for me, that means, so for me, that means a lot. And this will also help to get
We have some challenge there. Okay, so sorry, we'll come back to Ms. Jolenta. I think I'll skip that and then pick from the chat box. We have some questions here. Linda, please, can you quickly respond? We have a question here from Emanet from Ethiopia, and he's asking, how did you manage to start and run a company and manage your family? And what were the major challenges you faced as a woman in agriculture sector, and how did you overcome it?
I'm sorry, the question again?
How did you manage to start and run a business, a company, and then your family at the same time? And also, what were the challenges, major challenges that you faced as a woman in agriculture sector, and how did you overcome it?
Thank you. Well, managing the company was not difficult because I was coming from a background where my husband and I used to manage companies. So that was not very difficult. I pretty much picked up my pieces and moved on where we'd left it. And now I had more energy because I was doing something which was so totally different from my comfort zone. And this, I was more passionate about it because I had gone through hunger myself. I had gone through lack. So that kept me going. And then in terms of, and again on there, when I was speaking to one of my brother's friends, he told me one thing which I would want to share with women listening to me right now. He said, whenever you have hit rock bottom and you've got a family, what you need to do is to work hard to make sure that you rise. And as you do that, they'll also see how hard you're working. And he gave an example of when you're on the plane, they say wear your mask first before you put it on anyone else. So he said, just carry on, keep on moving, and then be the best at what you're doing. And then your children will also do likewise. And that helped me a lot. And then comes to the challenges as a woman. I cannot say I encountered any specific challenges as a woman, but just challenges of agro processing being a very sealed space, especially here right now. Getting information, getting training. I had to knock on doors, and some of them were slammed, in my face, because people are not used to sharing information. So that was the major challenge that I had. And then also with markets for people to understand dried food. It's not that well understood in South Africa. So creating awareness, because when you started business, the next thing you want to see your order book rising, but it was not that case because I had to create awareness, cook at times, get people to taste the food. And yeah, that sort of was a slow start, but I'm glad it's over now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there was an effort there to create awareness for people to really know what exactly you're talking about.
Yes.
So thank you. And then I'm glad that that's over now. Sorry, do we have Jolenta back? Okay, it's like Linda, you have another question specifically for you. So I will read it out to you. Yeah.
Okay.
She said, I'm very eager to hear from Linda on how she managed to get support from the university. That this is not actually easy, or it's an untapped resource for resolving most of their problems. So he wants to know, this is Fedi Tesha, who wants to know who paid for that support, or else how did you initiate for that partnership?
Okay, thank you. For universities, when I was mapping, when I was doing my road work, I realized that indeed he's correct, that this is an untapped resource.
Yeah.
And it actually the idea came out of lack of, like when you do not have the funds, but you want to know something about food technology. And then I would knock on doors and start speaking to the food technologists and all. But also because I had studied at University of Johannesburg,
Okay.
and under the Center for Entrepreneurs, it also opened up doors for me. And this is now I'm with UJ Pitts, and that is the processing technology part of UJ, and they are optimizing the solar tunnel. And there is a funding that they have as a university. And I would like to think most universities do have those kind of setups where they can fund to a certain percentage, and where they can fund an entrepreneur for equipment to a certain percentage. But I guess I can speak out of context on that one, I'm not too sure. But creating relationships, and even I would encourage the person who's asking that at times we think that doors are locked until we approach them and open them. Do we realize that indeed they are open? They should just start the communication with universities and tell them what they are trying to achieve, and they will be happy to find that they're more than willing to assist.
Thank you. You need to knock, you need to create relationship, the power of networking. You need to knock, then the door will be opened. Thank you very much, Linda, for that. That's a nice one, creating relationship. We will be rounding up shortly, but Jolenta, I see you are back. If you can hear me, we want your message to the young women wanting to venture into agriculture, but don't know where to start, and to stakeholders working to advance youth participation in agriculture. What's your message, your last message for them? Wow. Hello, Jolenta. Okay, I think we're missing her. So finally, I want to say thank you to all of us that have taken time, 1 hour, almost an hour now, to be with us on this platform and to also share experience. I've also learned from the stories of Linda and Jolenta, the issue of pushing. Do not stay at the bottom where you are, and do not allow your situation to define where you are. We need to be innovative. We need to take advantage of networks, of platforms that are available to us, and do not think that doors are that short. Try to create relationship, try to knock on them, and it will be open. And basically what I see is that I see somebody pushing to see how we can reduce food waste, food loss on the continent, which is very important. If we're able to salvage those quantities that are lost through malhandling or no proper processing, we will be able to reduce poverty, food insecurity on the continent, and also have nutritious food that also can help us for our children, for our mothers. And I also see the issue around youths as agripreneurs. Let's use our energy to actually build the food system. I invite you to also connect with us on the Value for Her. I'm sure for those of us that have registered, they will be reaching out. Those of us that are not yet on the Value for Her platform, and we are also agripreneurs, there's a lot to learn from this platform. For those of us that are posting our comments that we have different groups and how do you connect, we will be coming, we will be able to share the link for us to actually join this platform. It's very good. We're learning, we're sharing experience, creating linkages and the rest of them. Yes, we know these are private sector, these are private businesses. There's a competition or something, but then I think as women, we need to hold each other's hand up to support ourselves. We need to build the supply chain. I was interacting with an agripreneur who is saying that yes, by the time you support, I may be a baker, I have the raw material, I do not have the, what do they call it, the baking pan or something, but we need to supply some quantities, but we're doing the same business. If we support each other, we may be able to give large quantity to the demand for that product. But if we stay away and say, I need to do my own things, somehow we may not be able to grow. So we need to lend helping hands. Thank you very much for your time, and see you again for the next episode, which I know that will be communicated to all of us. We are agripreneurs. We need to support the food supply chain in Africa. We need to feed the poor, and we need to grow agriculture in Africa. Thank you very much, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.